Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Oh, hello, Levi.
Hello, Jen.
How goes it?
It's going okay. It's a very busy holiday.
As always.
But we are getting our MSQing in because we are here to pick up with the patch 2.55 main scenario quest.
Part 1.
Yes, we're not doing the whole thing. We are picking up with it.
A lot.
We are playing until, but not through, the Steps of Faith.
Yep.
But first, what happened last time, Jen?
Nah, fuck you, man. Fuck you. That was like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, so let's get us caught back up to speed.
Okay, I recall a kerfuffle at the processing plant. The Garleans there, since they've been cut off after Operation Archon, they wanted to swoop into the camp there and steal some supplies, and we got wind of that, and we're like, nope, not happening. So the Crystal Braves go up there, they do their thing. A couple of them were acting real sussy. And when I say sussy, I'm talking to you Hase. So we help him out, and Moonbrita is doing her test for her etheric siphon, right? We go out and check on her, and she's got her axe, and she killed a basilisk on her own. She's fine. And then suddenly an Ascian appears. This is, what's his name?
Nabriales.
So he shows up and he's like, haha, your Scion base doesn't have any, ward around it anymore, thanks to Midgard Sormer. He's after something. We find out we figure out he's after Tupsamati. And Moonbrita is like, we gotta go back to the Rising Stones. So we go back to the Rising Stones. Nabriales is already there. Minfilia is like, I'm not giving you shit. There is some drama there. Moonbrita gets knocked to the ground. Like Nabriales. Oh, we fight him, right?
Yes, we fight him.
Yeah, we fight him. And then he's like hella weak. And Minfilia is like, now. And so Moonbrita shoots over the white auracite to her. Minfilia is like, you're done, bitch. Sucks up his essence into the white auracite. And now well, that's great. But now we need to destroy it. So we use Tupsamati because it's real powerful. It was the whole reason the Ascians wanted it. And so she tries to shoot the fucking thing with Tupsamati. The white auracite isn't breaking. It's not strong enough. We needed one little less oomph of ether, and Moonbrita sacrifices herself in this effort, knowing that your ether is strongest right before you die. And so Nabriales is destroyed, and Moonbrita dies. And we have a memorial service for Moonbrita, and then it's, back to saving the realm.
Yes. Thank you, Jen, for the thorough recap. Look at all that you remembered.
Yep.
So we're not done with Moonbrita yet, though, Jen, because we pick up in the Rising Stones like we do, and Ida wants us to do her a favor. Despite the pall of grief, she is trying to be positive. It's what Moonbrita would have wanted. So she has requested that Rowena get her a special flower, and it's arrived, but she wants us to go and do the pickup because she doesn't want to be upsold on some stuff by Rowena.
She's just like, I really don't like dealing with Rowena. Even on a good day, she's just kind of insufferable. So we're going to do that for her. And I understand, because when we go to Rowena, we're like, hey, we're here to pick up a thing for Ida. And she's like, oh, right. Hey, doesn't it kind of suck that the Scions have you running around doing errands for them all the time? Like you're some kind of gopher or whatever. That seems dumb. Also, Ida's face mask is really old and dumb. And I think she should get a new one. And you should tell her that I have so many new ones and better ones that she could buy. If you could get her ass in here so she can finally replace that dusty old fuck ass face mask that she has, that'd be great. I'm like, fucking God, Ida was right. Fucking Christ, get me out of here.
Is that how Rowena talks, Jen?
Yes!
Okay, noted. It's now official.
Correct.
She talks like Jen.
Yes.
So we get the flower. This is a moon daisy. often hung to rafters, trees, or other elevated locations to represent the moon when performing rituals to Minfina during the day. Because you can't see the moon then.
Great. Pro tip.
Ida is waiting for us up at the Thaliac marker up on the hill. So we head up there, and no sooner does Ida take the flower than offer it up to the Thaliac marker when Midgar Sormer appears to us, announcing that the song riseth to a crescendo. And as confirmation, a supernatural roar sounds throughout the region, and a flock of dragons goes soaring by in the air. And we are pinged by Alphin-foe, who summons us back to the Rising Stones.
Yeah, something happened in Ishgard, and we're like, okay, big old group of dragons flying by. Suddenly Ishgard's calling, and they're like, stuff's happening. All right, we can see where this is going. So we get back to the Rising Stones, and Lucia is once again in the Solar. She tells us that the Dravanian attacks have begun in earnest. And Sir Emmerich and a contingent of knights were able to push the dragons into a retreat temporarily, but at a great cost of life. And Alphin-foe asks if they're requesting reinforcements, and Lucia's like, yes, yes, please. So he agrees to meet with Sir Emmerich to discuss, his request, but he doesn't make any promises. The Crystal Braves' priority right now is quelling the unrest in Ul'dah, and Lucia understands. She makes a second request to the Scions that Minfilia plead their case on their behalf to the leaders of the Grand Companies, to the Alliance. And Minfilia is like, I can absolutely do that, but I warn you, they may not respond favorably because reasons.
For some reason.
Right. And in the case that they do, there will be demands made on Ishgard. So just make sure everybody's expectations are set there. And Lucia is like, I got you. And then she turns to us with her final plea. Sir Emmerich wishes to speak with us independently. We faced Midgard Sormer, quote unquote, alone, and we may have some critical intel for them that will aid them in battle. This is where we get a cutscene on the Steps of Faith, which is that huge bridge leading to Ishgard, the city. And we see a bunch of temple knights and Ishgardian knights. It looks like they're killing one another. There's bodies everywhere, obviously, but it's like knights versus knights, and like that's something's fucked up here. And then we realize, oh, these are heretics disguised as knights, and Izel walks through the crowd and beseeches...
Also known as Lady Iceheart.
Lady Iceheart. And she turns her face towards the heavens, and she beseeches her Dravanian brothers and sisters. And she performs this massive spell that destroys the first layer of protective magics surrounding Ishgard.
Brothers and sisters of the heavens, we raise our voices and join you in the chorus. The sinner's feeble magics are undone. Come, claim your retribution.
That happens.
That
Meanwhile,
just happened.
So that just happened. We go to meet Alphin-foe at Camp Dragonhead, and in the time between we leave the Rising Stones and meet Alphin-foe at Camp Dragonhead, the Lady Iceheart dispelling of the ward has happened. So, like, we were traveling, so we probably didn't hear about it. So when we get to Alphin-foe, he's like, I've heard rumors that something is up with the Steps of Faith. You know what? Well, Sir Emmerich hasn't arrived yet. Let's go check it out while we're here.
So we head for the Gates of Judgment, which are the fortress at the entrance to the Steps of Faith. We ask around, we ask the guards what happened. They are all very concerned about this. Some of them are like, it'll be fine. We got multiple layers.
Yeah.
It'll be cool.
We like their reactions kind of run the gamut. We've got terror, awe, like, wow, if they can dispel one of the wards, what else are they capable of? There's one guy who's like, we'll be fine. Another guy who's like, these motherfucking Dravanian fucks! And then there's one guy's just like shivering in a corner, you know?
But now Lucia shows up to scold us for going off on our own, and we are summoned
supposed to meet at Camp Dragonhead. What
back
are you doing?
to Camp Dragonhead. This episode is full of Alpha-no being a shitbag. This is the first of many Alpha-no moments here.
He's the child.
He's the child.
And he's allowed at the big boys' table.
The baby.
And we're like, why is he allowed at the big boys' table?
So we go back to Camp Dragonhead and we meet with Emmerich like we're supposed to. But before we do, Alpha-no has a huddle with us. He announces that he intends to offer all the aid that we can, but he's going to make Emmerich work for it. Feigned disinterest may serve the cause of Eorzean unity better than naked philanthropy.
All right. Let's see how that works out. We do check in with Horshaphant first, though.
And he tells us to go to the hall.
Yeah, which is weird. But he has some Horshaphant shit to say, you know, because he's Horshaphant. He says, "'Tis reassuring indeed to behold the countenance of a friend when one's homeland teeters upon the very brink of disaster. Though a single misstep could send us plunging into the abyss, your heroic presence stokes the flames of courage within my heart." Like, my God, dude, what a roller coaster.
Anyway, we kick this meeting into action. Alpha-no starts off with, "I know you're busy. We can reschedule if you want to. No big deal." But Emmerich gets right down to business. But first, he wants to introduce us to someone, Sir Estinian, the Azure Dragoon. In strides Estinian, who we know well from the Dragoon questline, and we get a little shout out from having done that bit.
When he walks in, the look on our face is like, are you serious?
Jen, did you level Dragoon with Otis or just with your... Okay.
Yeah, I got the thing.
Cool.
So when that happened, I was like, I thank Christ he addressed it, because it's the fucking elephant and the dragon in the room, okay?
Yes and no. It's a little bit anticlimactic because last time he vanished into thin air and he jumped into the heavens and now he's back like, sup, bro? We're cool now, right?
Right. And so that's why like our face is like, it's like, okay, he's alive. Okay, he's Sir Emmerich's friend. Okay, he's helping us on this. Like, it's a lot. He's like fully decked out. Like, this is if you didn't do the Dragoon quest, this is still a really impressive introduction to Estinian. So he walks in, and
I do want to say that on my first playthrough, I had not yet leveled Dragoon when I got here.
Same.
So I got the vanilla experience.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it works a bit better. Maybe there's more follow-up afterwards, but I feel like we got some words for each other, and if there's no heart-to-heart with Estinian, it might be a bit awkward. Yeah,
suddenly I'm like, there's hella questions. It makes it, I guess it's a little awkward, because I'm like, well, when we last saw each other, you kind of wanted to kill me, and then I kind of assumed the image of Haldrath, and then like banished you to something. So, yeah, maybe we should just like have a discussion afterwards and clear the air.
There's still time. We've not yet talked to him since this one meeting, so who knows? I don't know about the Dragoon experience with
bigger
this.
Fish to fry, whatever. Sir Emmerich is like, this is my buddy. We're like, that's whatever.
I'm just going to say here right now, if this does not come up again, as in if there's no more custom Dragoon dialogue, it will be a bit awkward. Making my statement here.
Yeah, like we'll have to like have a heart-to-heart out, off camera or whatever. So Sir Emmerich fills in, those of us in the room who are not also an Azure Dragoon, i.e. Alpha-no, on what an Azure Dragoon is, that they are, so basically of all the Azure Dragoons, Sir Emmerich really talks Estinian up, and we already got this spiel in the Dragon Quest line is how Estinian is like one for the fucking ages, And Estinian, he's like, he turns to Sir Emmerich and he's like, thanks, man. You flatter me. But if ever I was without an equal, I am no longer, as my fellow Azure Dragoon here will attest.
Hello, Dragoon. I too am Dragoon.
Correct. And so he says, be at ease, Otis. I did not come to challenge you this day. I'm like, oh my God. So on to the issues, whatever.
The issue is that the Ishgardians have learned from the captured heretics that the Dravanians seek to reclaim Nidhogg's stolen eye. the eye that was claimed by the first Azure Dragoon, Haldrath. Should Nidhogg reclaim the eye, he will be restored to the height of his strength, and the city will surely be doomed. Fortunately, though, the eye is stored within the capital T, capital V, the Vault. But despite its numerous defenders, the Dravanian horde boasts ancient dragons who have awoken fresh from years of slumber, ready to resume their war. It's like no time has passed for them at all. And given that Iceheart's heretics attacked at the same time that the dragons awoke, they are likely in league with one another. And now there is a fresh hole in Ishgard's defenses, and the Ishgardians must brace to repel an imminent attack. And that's where we come in. And now Alphin-foe gets to lay it on thick.
Yeah, so Alphin-foe's like, so I knew this was coming. He asks Sir Emmerich why this is like a rehash of almost exactly the same conversation we had when Keeper of the Lake shit was happening. So bear with us.
But
It's
Jen,
very similar.
unlike the other arrangement, only you, Emmerich, benefit from this one. Because with the Keeper sitch, we watched the Keeper and they gave Mordona supplies. But now, it's all about Ishgard.
Yeah. Why support Ishgard's private war with the Dravanians? We have nothing to gain from this. And then when we asked Ishgard to join us in Operation Archon, which is something that affects the entire goddamn fucking realm, maybe planet, Ishgard refused. So, this is where we're at. And Emmerich is like, you know what? I can't excuse that. But I ask that you, Alphin-foe, imagine what would happen in the wake of Ishgard's fall. The land is deserted, populated only by beasts, would only be so easily claimed by the Empire. They would just have to swoop in. They wouldn't have to raise a sword to anybody. The idea of an imperial province sharing a border with Mordona, that's enough to give Alphin-foe pause.
He does not pause. He goes, what? He never thought about this whatsoever. He has to compose himself before he responds.
Yeah, he's like, well, 7 hells, I think is what he says. So he agrees. It's like, yep, that is a strong argument you make there, Sir Emmerich, and we of Eorzea will not abandon our Ishgardian brothers.
This is Alphin-foe getting jerked around number 2. He tried to play hardball, but he could not hard the ball.
He's out of his league. He's out of his league.
Yeah, it's not just that, but also like he goes in there knowing he's going to give them what they want, but then he's trying to be all aloof, even though this is like his dream, to get this to happen. But he's going to be like, actually, no, I'm good. We're good.
He's only read about this in books, and now he has to put it into practice with real scenarios and real human beings, and he's getting owned.
He is getting owned.
I mean, it's a fair argument he makes, right? Like, we had Operation Archon. We really could have used Ishgard's help. And you guys were like, nope, your problem, not our problem. Bye. So, like,
yes, that's all correct.
We absolutely could do the same thing to you right now. So, like, why should we?
But he goes, convince me. He's like, sell me on why.
So, yes, Sir Ram is like, all right, let me paint you a picture.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward the tape.
When he could take his position of strength and use it to extract concessions versus just trying to be too cool for school.
So, right. Okay. So then Emmerich, he wants to speak of the roar that was heard across the realm. And Estinian interrupts here. He wants to speak on this point. He tells us, well, more Alphin-foe than us, that his power is derived from the eye, and Nidhogg's essence runs in his veins. And there's like the brief cut to Alphin-foe's shocked face, like, what? And Estinium is like, don't worry, I still have full control of my faculties. However, the lingering essence allows him to hear Nidhogg's voice. And Alphin-foe asks if the roar was Nidhogg's. And Estinian says, yes, it was. So Nidhogg plans to direct the horde at Danafin's collar to destroy the remaining wards protecting the city. So Lady Iceheart gave them an in.
This is a lot of news, so we got to go excuse ourselves to go back to the Rising Stones and report back to Minfilia. To hear our big news, she summons a lot of people. We have the Scions A-Team, the Ranking Crystal Braves, Ilberd, Riol, and Yu Hase. And then they spend some time recapping what we just learned.
Yeah, the mood in the room is somber.
Yeah, but they all agree that, Alphin-foe essentially took what Emmerich told him and then tells the Scions that same thing. He's just like stealing Emmerich's argument as to why we need to help the Ishgardians.
I mean, it's a solid argument, but
Correct.
and obviously he has to present the argument to them because they, as an organization, also have to agree. Because they can still say like, no, we're not gonna, or they can be like, yeah, that's a worthy cause. And they agree on the latter. This is worthwhile. We have to join the war and defend Ishgard.
Yep. So Minfilia is going to take this to the Eorzean Alliance. We're going to get a council meeting together. Alphin-foe will join too, obviously. So we set our course. The meeting adjourns. The Scions leave first. Then the Crystal Braves leave. On the way out, Ilberd says something to Yu Hase. Yu Hase salutes and they both walk out. Behind them, Riol, he's our eye patch whistling guy. He's watching them with suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves as well, leaving us behind to be bemused over that whole nonverbal exchange.
Well, we spoke to Riol before about when we had that whole thing with Ilberd. We wanted to interrupt the transfer of the black market weapons. And it turned out to be like a whole like nothing burger. And Riol was like, hey man, can I talk to you? Because remember, they were like, they wanted to pin the failure of that mission on him because he's new. He doesn't know how to like
count things.
He doesn't know how to count things. And when he gets like a tip from somebody, he doesn't know how to like vet it, And Riol's like, that's bullshit. Remember, he was a member of the fucking Company of Heroes. All right. He's not new. He's done the books for a variety of organizations, and something is rotten in the state of Eorzea here, in the state of the Crystal Braves. So yeah, we're watching Riol watch the Crystal Braves, or at least the leadership.
Who watches
of the
us, Jen? It's
Midgard
Minfilia.
Midgard Stormer.
Yes, but Minfilia is the better answer to be a transition to the next bit because she has a special task for us. We're going to have to alert the local adventurers in Mordona and say, hey, 1, there's a war on, so there might be some spillover here, and 2, maybe get some recruits from the local population. And she recommends that we bring Tataru. Sadly, Tataru has had like a whole side personal development plotline that got cut in the MSQ trim.
Oh, her whole like, I want to be an Arcanist thing?
Yes, that's gone.
Oh no, that was so cute.
But also there are callbacks to that too in the future. Tataru got done dirty.
Oh man, that was so fun.
Yeah.
She wanted to be an Arcanist so bad. And she wasn't very good at it.
And she has her rogue carbuncle.
She had to...
Still at large today. We will talk a bit about that during our A Realm Reborn finale. But yeah, all of her screen time got cut pretty much, except for this. She gets to be the tag-along as we go and talk to the Mordonans.
We're going to go talk to Slafborn, who is in charge of the Adventurers Guild in Mordona. And... Minfilia is like, you should let Slafborn know about all of this stuff and see, what, like, practically we can prepare and take Tataru with you. And I'm like, oh my God, if there's anything that Tataru loves, it's fucking logistics. So let's go. And she is so excited. So we go to Slafborn and we're like, hey man, there's going to be some stuff happening. And he's like, okay, not a problem. We're going to increase patrols. We're going to make space for an infirmary and arrange temporary housing for anybody displaced by the war, that's all great.
But he will not be part of us getting adventurers to sign on to this war effort.
Yeah, the Adventurers Guild officially will have nothing to do with this. However, we can ask people individually, they're free to make their own decisions. So that's our job.
So we start pounding the cobbles, and the very first person we talk to shoots us down so hard.
Oh, yeah.
The accomplished adventurer says, spare me your talk of glory and fame. I'm not in the habit of volunteering for lost causes. I've survived this long by trusting my instincts, and my instincts tell me to stay well away from Ishgard.
And then she walks away. And that's Totally fair.
And now Riol walks up to spare us from our embarrassment.
It's not embarrassing. I'm like, it's fine. Anyway, like, hey man, can I talk to you? He's got more stuff. I'm like, I am terrified for this man at this point. Like, my God. So he's like, remember that scuffle at the processing plant a little while ago?
I do, because Jin recapped it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jin.
You're welcome. And, you remember seeing Wilred there, right? He's like a young dude, and we're like, well, of course we know Wilred. We saved him from an Amalja death in Little Alamigo back when he was trying to summon Ralger. So anyway, Wilred he was hanging out with the Fourth that day, but Riol wants to know if we have seen him at all since then. And we say, oh, no, actually, we have not. And he's like, fuck, nobody has seen him since then. At the same time as Wilred's supposed disappearance, those black market weapons, remember those crates of weapons? There was like 2, but whatever. They went missing from their vault in Ul'dah. And, just the timing of those things happening together has made a lot of the Crystal Braves think that Wilred is responsible for stealing the black market weapons. And Riol is like, again, been around the block, is real good at reading people. He's like, okay, Wilred, he is a child, he is fresh-faced, he's a novice, and he's full of youthful passion, and there's no fucking way he would steal a bunch of weapons and then abscond with them for no reason. Like, there's just no way. So something is up. Not only that, but right before he disappeared, he talked to Riol and said, hey man, I just noticed some some irregularities in the ledgers. I just want to get your feedback on them. And then poof, he's gone. This bodes extremely ill for Wilred, which sucks because he's a kid. And I'm also terrified on behalf of Riol because he's sticking his nose in stuff. And I honestly don't remember what happens. But if he gets concrete shoed or something, I'm going to be very upset. Anyway.
After that whole dump, though, he's like, well, thanks for listening. I'll let you get back to your warmongering or whatever you're doing.
I just wanted to put a bug in your ear or whatever. I'm like, no, we see shit. I've been on to Yu Yu Hase since
day one.
We were rousing up fucking shoe salesmen in Kurthis or whatever.
Shoe salesman in Kurthis, yes. I recall those days.
There was some sketchy merchant, remember?
Back in the little shoe hustling days.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying.
Yes, there was a merchant. I don't think that he was a shoe merchant, but there was a merchant.
Okay. We don't know. He
maybe a merchant of death.
He may have been. Oh my God.
And shoes.
Of Venice? Was he selling Venice?
No.
Oh, okay. It's probably shoes.
There are more than 2 options, but anyway,
shoes. We
get back to our business of trying to find new recruits, and we are told no several times. We are not shot down so calamitously, but we only get a single yes among the lot. But Tataru has better luck.
Sort of.
With her help, she has done twice as many as us.
Yeah, we
2 people.
We go back and we're like, I think we got 1 or 2. Nobody was an outright fuck yeah, sign me up. It was either fuck off, no way, or but the pay is good, I guess. So we're 1 or 2 maybe, and she's like, yeah, with mine, then maybe 3 or 4. So she also got maybe 1 or 2.
We got 1 yes, Jen. We are exaggerating.
We got 2 maybes. It was all about the Benjamins,
I heard one of them was dragons killed my brother and I'll never set foot near a dragon again.
Yeah, that was right. No, he was hanging out in Rowena's.
And there was the
jam.
No, fuck you and fuck the idea you brought to me to even get involved in Ishgard. And then another one's I don't want to go die in some foreign war. I'd call it 3 hard no's. Maybe Jen
I remember 2 being I've done work like this and the money was pretty good. So as long as the money's pretty good, then
okay.
Right.
We are now at 1 or 2. Look at that, Jen.
Exactly.
Anyway,
it didn't work very well. So Tataru, she's the eternal optimist. She's like, that's great. That's more than nothing. And we're like, you are not wrong.
She informs us that Alphin-foe has summoned us to the fragrant chamber in Ul'dah. So we pop on over there and we meet Alphin-foe outside and head without much ado into the conference directly.
Yeah, so the Alliance leaders were like, you know what? We should just bring the whole council together and have a discussion. So that's what they're doing. And Alphin-foe was like, I should probably show up. And if I'm showing up, then you should show up. So here we are. At the outset, Alphin-foe asks the council if there are any objections to the Crystal Braves' involvement. And there are none. And Merlvib is like, we pray for your success. And Alphin-foe responds with
thoughts and or prayers.
Literally thoughts and prayers. And Alphin-foe was like, you know what? I thought that you would maybe devote a little bit more than prayers because you all are fucking capable. And Merlvib, she's always the one to like slap him down, which is why she's amazing. She's like, look, don't deign to know all of our concerns, okay? You don't. And let me remind you of our concerns in each of our respective states. I've got Beastman issues, and like everybody's got the same shit they've been dealing with since the Calamity, rebuilding, Beastman issues, internal strife, etc., etc. And, you know, anything we can spare, we will spare, but it will be limited. And Connie Senna suggests Alphin-foe maybe reach out to the free companies.
Ah, yes, the free companies. They're not like to turn you down.
I beg your pardon? You would entrust the survival of Ishgard to sellswords? Crises like these are the very reason why this alliance was formed. It is our duty to aid our fellow man.
My duty is to my country and my people. If you expect us to place the welfare of a foreign power above our own, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
This is so funny.
The free companies are always looking for work.
It never gets mentioned anywhere until now. Free companies, of course, are the player guilds, and he hates us, Jen. He shoots down the idea so hard.
Oh, we're just a bunch of fucking like misfit sellswords.
The collective nigh infinite warriors of light across all the realms, Jen.
He doesn't even know.
Just shot down. No, just a bunch of sellswords.
Well, like a third of them are ERP, but whatever. So Alphin-foe is totally rankled by the suggestion that we leave the fate of Ishgard in the hands of sellswords. So now he's done. He slams his hands on the table and rebukes the cowardice he perceives from the council in this moment. The Alliance's purpose, he says, was to handle crises just like this. So what the fuck? And Merlvib reminds him, yet again, that their duty, as in the Alliance leaders, their duty is to their own land and to their own people. And I quote, "If you expect us to place the welfare of a foreign power above our own, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Limsa comes first, then the Alliance, then Ishgard, and the rest. If you cannot understand so simple a concept, then you have no place at this table." Boom, done, period. Yes. Alphin-foe has a eat crow moment.
Jen, he is being a terrible diplomat, as is his theme right now.
He's full of piss and vinegar.
He is full of piss and vinegar, mostly piss. But speaking from a zoomed out, third-party perspective, what Emmerich says is fully true.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Plus, there are other machinations at work here as well, which we don't know about yet, but we will as we play through the Heavens War expansion. So history will prove Alphin-foe right, even though he's doing a piss-poor job of selling it.
And I think it's also important, too, that, if he's got to get like a reality check, look, like I understand what you're saying, kid, at this table. You're like, for the greater good, everybody support your brothers, and whether or Eorzea's people are all Eorzea's people. It's not like Limsons versus Old Dons versus, which is also correct. But he can't just sit there and spout like idealistic bullshit at this table without like acknowledging that each one of these people has their own issues that they're also dealing with. He just came in, he was like, fuck all y'all, why aren't you saying yes to this immediately? And she's got to be like, bro, this is why. There's nuance to this conversation. You're coming at us with a totally inappropriate attitude. So sit the fuck down.
They should have sent Emmerich.
Oh my God, right?
But they did not. Just Alphin-foe. Raubon is a bit more, I guess, broad-minded here. One, he says that we assemble our classic party of elite adventurers. So we'll get the A team of Warriors of Light and their hangers-on to take care of the problem.
Yeah.
Never fails. And also, though, he says to Nanamo, may I propose a redistribution of forces? If we entrust the security of Ul'dah to the Brass Blades, a great idea at any time, we can then dispatch a larger force to Ishgard. But Nanamo is very distracted. Her handmaiden is speaking to her in hushed whispers, and Nanamo just goes like, oh, what? Yeah, sure, whatever you say. And she excuses herself from the table.
And then without, like, the meeting's basically over, and Raban's like looking at her like Rial was looking at Ilberd. Not because of the same issue, but Raban's also like kind of like side-eyeing the Sultana, going like, what is up with you? So she's clearly distracted. Everybody, the meeting's over, everybody walks away. Sultana is clearly in her own head, and Raban just watches her walk away. And he grabs the attention of her lady in waiting, and he's like, is the Sultana unwell? And the lady in waiting is like, no, she's like perfectly healthy. Everything's awesome. Thanks for asking. And Raban's like, okay, thank you. But he's not convinced. And we're not convinced because we're still in the room and watch this whole exchange happen. So it's like, what? Just keep an eye on it.
So that's the meeting. We glossed over the Gordanian reason for saying no to Alpha-foe's pitch. And that is, Jin, your favorite things. Gordania can't join in because they have to attend to Cartano. They have to keep on fighting in the front lines. Yeah.
I mean, if they pull shit from Cartano, then Telegi will swoop in and get all the stuff.
This was so weird because it has not come up since 2 patches ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Unless this got cut with the cut content, I don't recall. But in our playthrough, the last we heard about Telegi and the Cartano reclamation bill was like this backroom talk of trying to push this thing forward. This implies the refugee,
he never left, man.
He never entered.
No, I mean, like, his machinations have been like continuing.
Correct, but he was not on Cartano last we checked, and he was trying to get this bill passed, which will let him get a foothold on Cartano because he wanted to settle the Ul'dah refugees there. There's been shit all about that until now, and now people are concerned about him sniping their spot. There have been implicitly some big movements happening with that whole thing that have not happened on screen whatsoever.
We can only handle so much, man. Now,
let's spend all of our time on the Ivy instead.
Well, right. Uldah's had a lot of stuff going on, and like there's it's scandalous, straight up. You've got people on the Syndicate who are arming refugees to start riots in the city and cause like massive civil unrest, and we don't ever not talk about it. So like every time the Crystal Braves come up, we're like, we've got to deal with Ul'dah. Whatever. It just seemed like when she said it, I'm like, that seems like a cop out, but okay, whatever. They're gonna do their fucking thing, and it's not. I don't think they're doing it because they want to like middle finger Ishgard or whatever. But for some reason, maybe they're just feeling a little like, but our stuff's also like really important. And if Sir Emmerich were there, he'd be like, bitch, give it a year. Ishgard has fallen. It is a pile of rubble. It's just a bunch of dragons.
Adelegi's moving in there
and
now.
And then the Garleans and all their like Magitech shit, like wom, over the area they terraform. Now it's one big Tron
prefabbed
land
mega
and exactly.
Mega castrum.
Yeah, it's just like snow on metal panels. Anywho.
So we leave the meeting. Alpha-foe outside apologizes to us for once again the weight of the world being put upon our shoulders and our closest friends / elite adventurers.
Yeah, well.
And we get a link pearl ping. It's Captain Ilberd reporting that the Dravanians are on the move. So we prepare to head over to Ishgard again, or rather to Kurthus. We prepare to head over to Kurthus again, and we will leave off there. Jen, the talk here is still about our elite adventurer party, but the Steps of Faith has been converted to a solo instance, which as of this time, we have not yet played.
Right.
So I'm thinking that the language here could use an update to not refer to our A team.
Yeah. I mean, it could go either way. It's like, when they use this language historically, that has meant that we're going into an 8-man trial.
Or sometimes a 4-person dungeon, a story dungeon.
Right. And but this time it's just us. So it's like, because we're all trying to talk randos into joining ranks. We're trying to talk the Alliance into just donating people, bodies, whatever. So we're also just trying to recruit bodies. And while it's just going to be us on the Steps of Faith, our quote unquote adventurer allies are going to be on some other front line in this battle. We're doing our own recruiting within our own circles.
Jen says it's A-okay.
It's a little because we've played literally the entire game, we recognize this pattern. But if you were doing ARR for the very first time, it wouldn't be a pattern, and it probably wouldn't stick out in your head as well.
Counterpoint, they drop this language at some point in the next expansion or two. They stop referring to our friends at all, pretty much, and just
until what, Shadowbringers?
Well, then it becomes the trust party, like the fellow NPCs go in with us in the trusts in canon.
Right. Yep. I'm like, oh, they're doing that, but they changed it to a single.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll find out next time, Jen, what's in store for us in the Steps of Faith version 2.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments for today, Jen?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, next time we are continuing on with the old MSQ. I believe we'll have 3 segments in all to get to the end of A Realm Reborn.
Shit.
Also, do note that we are having a bit of a send-off for A Realm Reborn. 12 years too late, but still. Probably 10, actually, until the end. Irrelevant. Point being, in the old Discord, we have some stuff going on to celebrate our saying goodbye to A Realm Reborn. So if you're curious, come hop on over, check those show notes for a link. Take us out, please, Jen.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening, and also for setting some boundaries with Rowena, okay? Hold on to that spine. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. As Levi said, check the show notes for our Discord. You'll see some polls popping up here shortly about our farewell party to ARR. We'll have some activities going on, scavenger hunts and things, probably fishing contests too, so level that shit. You can also check us out on Blue Sky at podreturnffxiv, and our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to all of our other stuff. That includes the seasonal events and our Final Fantasy XI series, Vanadiel Van Splainer. And I'd like to shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers out there. You guys are fucking awesome. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.